It's a proven fact we have water all through our body. It's a proven fact that we have crystals in our inner ear. It's a proven fact that we have crystals all in our brain. And anybody can look this up on the internet, and you'll find that this is the truth, all factual stuff.
Yeah.
So every time somebody calls you your name, you're getting very uh, subliminal color wavelength vibration sent to you. All sounds give off, that's another fact, all sounds give off a color wavelength vibration. So the different letters in your name are tuned to different colors. So every time somebody calls your name, you're getting different wavelength vibrations that are going into your inner ear cochlea gland, then sent to your what I call the grand central station gland in the brain, your thalamus gland. It takes in all the information of your different senses. It sorts it out and it sends it to the 7 centers.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever and wherever you are watching or listening. This is the Holistic Monitor, and I'm your host, Nick Sconia. The Holistic Monitor is a wellness podcast featuring life energy research, health and wellness transformation, self-improvement and empowerment, philosophy, spirituality, and now guest interviews as well. We look forward to your comments on our YouTube channel at Holistic Monitor, and you can also listen on the go with us at Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and more. And with that, let's get today's show started. BP Greycastle,
Yes,
or
hello?
Mr. Greycastle. You are the creator of Name Colorology.
Yes, I am.
And it's more than just a methodology or a system for self-discovery. It's also wrapped up in a message for the future and a way to proceed into the future in a positive and in a spiritual direction.
Yes, absolutely. Now that we've discovered this, people will know as soon as they have a name, all their personality, character traits, where their genius lies, their creativity, their emotions, uh, everything about their 7 centers that I talk about.
Yeah. Now you basically work with the colors of the chakras and the 7 rays of the color spectrum. In the electromagnetic spectrum, we see like a really large chart of a whole lot of different wave patterns, lengths, and speeds. And in a little small smidge, we see what we can actively interpret, which is the 7 colors.
Okay.
So when you are talking about name colorology, this is kind of like color therapy. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. It's definitely color therapy, and it's a lot more. Your
And a
name
lot more.
determines your name affects every aspect of your life, your color-coded name. It determines your personality, character traits, and talents, both positive and negative, all your 7 centers. And the 7 centers I'm referring to, the Eastern philosophy, Hindus, refer to them as the 7 chakra centers. Now, my theory is for thousands of years, they've actually been unknowingly talking about our 7 major endocrine glands.
Mm.
In my book, I have 3 charts. I show that the 7 chakra centers are located right where our 7 major endocrine glands are, and I call the 7 centers our 7 spiritual energy centers: spiritual, mental, vocal, physical, control, emotional, and sexual. So your color-coded name determines all your personality and character traits and talents of those 7 centers. Determines what your career should be, who your romantic soulmate should be, what colors to decorate your home to stimulate those 7 centers, what colors to wear to project the different images I talk about that are in tune with those 7 centers. Again, your name affects every single aspect of your life. And the way
Yeah.
that a lot of people don't get the connection between a person's name and color. Well,
Right. Yeah,
well,
I've
shrink.
ran into that a lot actually, that
Yeah,
people don't
yeah,
really
absolutely.
understand the concept.
Yeah, but it's a proven fact we have water all through our body. It's a proven fact that we have crystals in our inner ear. It's a proven fact that we have crystals all in our brain. And anybody can look this up on the internet and you'll find that this is the truth, all factual stuff.
Yeah.
So every time somebody calls you your name, you're getting very uh, subliminal color wavelength vibration sent to you. All sounds give off, that's another fact, all sounds give off a color wavelength vibration. So the different letters in your name are tuned to different colors. So every time somebody calls your name, you're getting different wavelength vibrations that are going into your inner ear cochlea gland, then sent to your, what I call the grand central station gland in the brain, your thalamus gland. It takes in all the information of your different senses. It sorts it out and it sends it to the 7 centers via the water and the crystals in our body.
Mm-hmm. Harmonics.
And you're called your name over and over thousands of times during your lifetime. So you're getting this repetitiously over and over and over, and it's really laying the foundation of your personality.
Right.
And the way that I back that up is I show that 95% of your most famous people in practically every major career field is because they're color-coded names. I show that 95% of your most famous physicists are purple spiritual people. Those are people whose first or last names start with BIPs or Ws. And in my book and also on my video on my website, I show the winners of the Nobel Peace Prize in physics, the list of them since it started in 1902 to about, I think I got listed about 2021. 95% of them are purple spiritual people. People's names who start with BIPs or Ws, like Einstein or Isaac Newton, and the list goes on and on. And I show your most famous writers, lawyers, architects, singers, you name it. Like I say, we list about 30 or 40 career fields in the book where we show that the most famous and successful are certain color types.
Yeah. For me, and I've been studying name analysis, letter powers for quite a long time, and I found a couple different systems or methods that instruct and help you to learn a system that you can use to learn letters and toning and that sort of thing. I will say that your system is the most concise, accurate, and I love that you put in what we all need, which is some kind of rational, common sense approach to something that is spiritual, that is a bridge.
Yeah, we say that we have broken or combined the scientific with the spiritual with this philosophy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, you're right on the way that you said that.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of one of my judgments on a system, is if I can make some sense of it.
Yeah,
And it's
exactly.
typically,
What I
yeah,
say in my book or whenever I do consultations, I say that our spiritual center is where our genius, our imagination, our creativity is, where we go out there and we open our mind to search and try and make these discoveries. And then after we come up with these different ideas or these theories, then we use our mental, common sense, intellectual center, where our pituitary gland is, or what I call your mental center. The Easterners call it the broad chakra. It goes to work to see are these ideas practical? Will they really work? So are they logical? Will they work? So yeah, that's basically the way it happens.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I studied some information from Ted Andrews, which I want to say the book was from the late 80s or early 90s, and he goes into name power, letter composition, vowels and consonants. a very good book,
Okay.
but you have to really kind of, you have to work it yourself and figure it out. What I like
Hmm.
about your system is that it's pretty direct, and
Yeah.
um, the language is very simple too.
Yeah.
You,
Well,
you're giving the seven chakras more sensible and understandable names.
yeah. Well, it's really amazing that the Hindu society they start writing about the chakra centers back in anywhere from 1500 to 500 BCs.
Hmm.
Western medicine started to discover them and do surgery on them back in, I think it was 1841.
Mm,
So uh, it's just amazing to me that the Hindus knew that these seven centers really existed,
yeah.
and and like I say, but the one thing I disagree with them. They all say that everybody's like crown chakra is purple or their heart chakra is a certain color. I say absolutely no. It all
Mm,
depends on your name and what your color coded letters are in your name.
yeah.
And I believe I pretty much proved that by showing uh, these different lists of names. And in the book, when if somebody gets my book, you're going to see these brackets around the different names of these people. Well, these brackets are meant to show you exactly what letter we're talking about and where it comes in your name, the first letter or after a syllable break or before a syllable break. And so we've got it. We believe we've got it down. We think we've broken the human personality code, the human romance code, the human career code, the human color code of how colors really affect us. And
Yeah.
also, here's the other part of my theory is okay. I'm sure we all know certain people that just operate and make all their decisions emotionally out their emotional center.
Hmm.
And then we know other people that are more common sense, practical, and logical in their choices of like career or how they spend their money or and things like that. And other people that are more physical that like to run and lift weights and exercise all the time. Other people are more creative. And so, depending on which one of your seven centers you tend to operate on a regular basis, my theory and my question is are we releasing hormones from that particular center and becoming addicted to our own hormones depending on this repetitious habit of operating off that center?
Yeah. Yeah, I would have to agree. First, I love that you said my theory. Even to this
Hmm.
day, you're still holding that it's a theory and
Yeah,
that
well,
even your
uh,
opinion can be
I'm
swerved.
not an endocrinologist. Um, I'm what I do, what I say in my book. I say if the mainstream medical society accepts my theory, I believe it'll create two new medical fields: endocrinology psychology and endocrinology psychiatry.
Hmm.
But so I tell people if you have any endocrine gland problems or health problems, go see a doctor. I'm not a doctor. This
Right.
is a theory. But again, if you look at all the facts and figures in my book, I believe we've hit the target.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say now in my theory and understanding of how names and the sound and toning of the different consonants and vowels in someone's name, when it's said to the person, it helps to reinforce that person's reality, that person's perception, and it is colored by those vibrational patterns, whether that be
Oh yes,
blue or green.
yes. Once you know all your personality, character traits, and talents, and you can really use them. That's
Yeah,
I think the best one of the best applications of my philosophy is soon as a mother or a parent knows their child's name, they'll know how to direct them in a positive way and keep them out of the negative stuff.
right.
And what career there would be natural for them, and again, what personality character traits to guard them from.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think something that a lot of people would have a question about is what about when there are two letters and one of them's silent, or one of them's just, there's one sound, like a PH makes an
Yeah.
F,
Yeah,
or a CK
what
makes a
I tell
K
everybody
sound.
is, if you get my book, do not skip any pages, because
Yeah.
we tell you that you don't count silent letters. And also you have to analyze your name phonetically. I'll give you
Mm-hmm.
an example. Let's say a girl's name by the name of Carol.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's spelled with a C. If you look at the alphabet letter chart in my book or on my video on my website, you'll see that the letter C is in the red column. Red letters are C, J, Q's, and X. But
Mm-hmm.
phonetically, that C in Carol sounds to a K. So if you look at the letter alphabet chart again, you'll see that a K is an orange letter. So that makes that person an orange spiritual person and not a red spiritual person.
Mm.
Another example is, let's say, the name Eileen. A lot of times the name Eileen is spelled E-I-L-E-E-N, but
Right.
that E is silent. The first sounding letter is a I. So the E is silent. You don't count it. Same thing with Einstein's name. His
Mm-hmm.
last name's spelled with the E, but the first letter you actually hear is an I, Einstein. You don't hear E Einstein or E Eileen. You just hear the I. So you don't count silent letters. And if you have two double letters together, they usually don't sound twice. So you only count them once.
Right. Okay. And you mentioned your book. You have that on your website?
Yeah. And
Okay.
our distributor just went out of business, so you may have a hard time getting the book. It looks like I'm going to have to go overseas to have the book printed and find a new distributor, but there are some left on Amazon. But all a person has to do is go to my website, namecolorology.com, and we'll try and get you a book. You can get the ebook for sure on
Okay.
Amazon. And also, if you can't get the paperback, I'm offering a very special offer for consultations. Normally, I charge $160 for an hour. I'm willing to give everybody that wants a consultation, if they can't get the paperback book, $80 for 2 hours. So
Oh,
I'm just trying to cover everybody that wants to find out what their name says about them.
perfect. Perfect.
Okay.
And the book is, what's the name of the book? Name Colorology?
The name of the book is Your Name and Colors, Key to
Mm-hmm.
Your Beauty, Career, Personality, Romance, and Success. And I guarantee you, your name determines all that. We
Yeah.
have all the pictures of our models wearing their different center colors. We on the website we tell people how to analyze what interiors, what type of interiors they should decorate their home, and what colors. What colors will relax them? What colors will stimulate their creativity? What colors will to wear to going into the fashion again? What colors to wear to stimulate your romantic soulmate romantically or sexually? Uh, uh, we tell you how to use your colors both in your wardrobe and decorating your home and choosing your career choices.
Now, is it the way that this works as far as the colors go? When you wear the color blue, let's say, or you see um, blue in your surroundings, does this color, if you're looking for blue or need blue, does it help to go in and kind of balance the chakras, the person's chakras?
Absolutely, absolutely. What happens is, my theory is, okay, let me give you an example. In my book, and when I do consultations, I tell people, I look at their name, and I determine what color they don't have in their name. And then that becomes their emotional center color.
Hmm.
And so if they decorate a room in their emotional center color, when they walk in that room and they see that color through their eyes, I believe my theory is that the message gets sent back to that thalamus gland that keeps the overall record of our seven centers and senses and colors, and it says, this color is attuned to my navel chakra, or my emotional center, or the pancreas endocrine gland. And as soon as you walk into a room that you've decorated in your emotional center color, the stress will just start to peel off of you. Now, the same thing with all the other centers. Let's say a person sees a woman dressed in a yellow outfit, and if it happens to be that person's sexual center color, he's going to think that woman is sexy. All the seven centers. Once you see your color that's attuned to these seven centers, it's going to stimulate one of those centers.
Okay.
So
and that works for other people as well?
Or you decorate in your home, it's going to stimulate these seven centers.
If a person...
That answers your question.
Yeah. I believe it's just to find balance, basically.
Well,
then that works for the
centers,
person.
Yeah. What I tell people is I believe God has given us these seven centers for a reason. This is what we've evolved to, human beings. We're human beings with emotional feelings, sexual feelings, creative ideas, common sense, intellect, and we have these seven endocrine glands and these seven centers. So in order, we're meant to cultivate them and use them. And if we don't cultivate, let's say we leave one dormant, it's going to cause problems in our life. Like, let's say we never exercise, or we haven't cultivated our moral spiritual center. It can get us in trouble. Yeah. We need to cultivate all these seven centers, and knowing your colors will help you balance them all out. So you're balanced out, mind, body, and soul.
Right.
And like the other examples, let's say if you're making all your decisions emotionally about spending money or some bad habit like drinking too much, or you need to work on your control center to control those emotions to balance yourself out.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So in an example where the woman is looking to feel more attractive, and she wears yellow, let's say that's what's the color that she needs, and then somebody comes by and they see her wearing yellow, is it going to have to match for them to be attracted to that person as well?
Well, if the person that comes by and sees her in the yellow, if it happens to be that person's, let's say, emotional romantic color, he's gonna be stimulated romantically towards her, emotionally towards her. If it happens to be his sexual center colors, he's probably gonna say, Once it's like almost automatic. It goes through this computer check to your thalamus to these seven centers, and then it's just going to say, "Wow, boom!" Stimulates that center.
Yeah.
I've got this thing now that I'm working on. I want to bring my business down to Los Angeles for actresses and actors, where I will be coaching them on how to instantly get in touch with these seven centers, and they'll automatically start to project one of these different images. Let's say their part they're playing is a romantic one. I'll tell them how to exactly stimulate that emotional center, and they'll start to feel emotional and romantic, and then they will automatically start to look that way, their expressions on their face, and be able to project in an emotional way.
And that's more what we're looking at, is the person then becomes more of that projection.
Well, I believe they will instantly be releasing those hormones from that endocrine gland. So if you're releasing sexual hormones, you're going to get stimulated sexually. If you're releasing emotional romantic hormones, you're going to start feeling that way and projecting that way.
Right.
Let me give an example. Most people have probably watched the movie The King and I with Yul Brynner.
Mm-hmm.
If you notice, he puts his hands on both his hips, and
Right.
or you see people when they say, throw your shoulders back and stick out your chest.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, what you're actually doing is you're lifting up your solar plexus, which I call the power center, your control center. Uh, the It's also called the where your adrenals are, your fight or flight glands. Uh, and that's what you're doing when you do that. Or when Yul Brenner was putting his hands on his hips and kind of throwing his shoulders back, he's actually stimulating his power center. So
Right.
you look very empowered, very authoritative. Uh, Now look at whenever they have these women at the Academy Awards or the Golden Globes,
Mm-hmm.
they'll do a pose and they'll put their left hip and leg out, and it's a sexual pose.
Hmm.
And they actually start to look sexier when they do that pose. And what they're doing is they're actually sticking out there down around your hip areas. Ovaries for women is their sexual center. So I have a method now of telling people how to get in touch exactly with those 7 centers.
Hmm. And what about visualization?
Um,
As far as
I'm not
I'm in
sure.
need for green, can I visualize green
Oh,
and that will help?
okay. Um, when I analyze a person's name, I ask them all these questions about what's their favorite colors, and I describe those 7 centers like I did earlier, and I ask them what centers do you think you need to cultivate,
Hmm.
and or which ones you have cultivated. And then we go from there. Then I'll tell them, well, okay, if you need to become more relaxed, visualize your emotional center color. Or if you need to become more in control over a bad habit, visualize your control center color. And 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 also, once a person becomes aware that they have these 7 centers, that's a first step.
Yeah.
Then they'll start to notice and realize when they're operating off these different centers.
Right. Right.
And so the first step is realizing we have these 7 centers and the colors do affect them, and then you go from there. So yeah, you can use visualization to get in touch with these centers.
Yeah. And
You
I'd say
can,
that visualization isn't really strong because it's is only as long as you can empower that visualization.
or you can take I advise everybody to buy a color fan, a used color fan on eBay, and you can use the fans
Hmm.
to visualize or to use to decorate your home, or if you're going out to buy some clothes or something, and you got your colors right in front of you there. Uh, but um,
Yeah.
I was going to say something, but I forgot it.
Well.
As we go along, I hope I can remember it.
Yeah.
Uh, but
Well.
yeah, your name affects every single aspect of your life. There's no doubt about it.
Well, there would be a question. Short names. We're mostly talking about what we're called, right? What people call
Oh
us
yeah,
every
you
day.
have to go by what you're hearing, what
Yeah.
actual wavelength things you're receiving. You can't go off official name that's written on a piece of paper. For example, if your name is Robert, but everybody calls you Bob, you got to go by Bob.
Yeah. Right.
And
Oh, if somebody wanted to change their name to fit or
you can you
change
can
their
you can acquire some new character traits and talents, and you can make some changes. Another question I get all the time is women that say, "Well, when I get married and I change my name, am I gonna
right.
is it gonna make any difference?" And I say, "Yeah, you'll start to acquire some new color character traits from the new name."
Yeah.
And I'll tell you how strong our names are.
Hmm.
In my book, I show that uh, if for their General George Custer's name. That's the reason why he got wiped out at Little Bighorn. I show that James Dean, the reason why he got killed in a car wreck is because the first letter in his name. The reason why the Titanic was sunk, in my opinion, is because of the radio operator's first letter in his last name.
Oh,
and I show that all your most famous mass killers like Hitler, Pol Pot, Idi Amin, it's all because of a certain letter in their name. And names are very, very important.
Yeah, absolutely. And so changing your name could be something that would benefit a person.
Let's say you want to change a career to career. Let's say you want to be a doctor. I would tell you to change to a red spiritual person, which is CJQs or X's. In my book, I show most of your most famous doctors are red spiritual people, and also health gurus, exercise gurus. Red spiritual people also make the most famous true talk show hosts. One of the red letters is J. Johnny Carson, Jay Leno, Jimmy Kimmel, and the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
I show about 30 or 40 different career fields where the most famous basketball players, lawyers, you name it, is because of their color-coded name.
Yeah, and J is a very now in some languages it's pronounced with as an H, so it would be a different vibration, right?
I tell people if it's Jose spelled with a J, it actually sounds an H, and H is a flesh spectrum spiritual. I mean, that would be a flesh spectrum spiritual person. Now, the flesh spectrum is the seventh color of the spectrum, as far as I say. All other color experts that I've ever seen or read, they all say the blue, purple, indigo is. No, I totally disagree with that. Back in the days when Sir Isaac Newton was experimenting with the colors through the prism, they used to mix chemicals and acids with the blue, purple, indigo dye from India. But when they mix the chemicals and the acids with that dye, it turned it to a flesh color, like a Caucasian person skin when they get a slight suntan. The other way that I prove that it's a seven color of the spectrum is in order to get any of your secondary colors, you have to mix two of your primaries. Your primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. Your secondary colors are, for example, orange, which you mix red with yellow. Green is blue with yellow.
Right.
Purple is red with blue. The only other combination of mixing your three primary colors together is all three of them. And if you mix all three of the three primary colors in a true hue, like a true yellow, a true blue, and a true red, you see what color you get. You don't get a blue purple. You get a flesh color.
Interesting.
And then there's two or three other reasons why I say in my book why I believe that the flesh spectrum is the seventh color of the spectrum. Now, the flesh spectrum starts at the whites, off-whites, tans, beiges, and browns.
Right.
And I've never met anybody. I've done hundreds of people's colors, and I've never met, or any person I've ever known, they'll when I ask them about their favorite colors or what kind of color car they like, they always say like the whites and the off-whites, the flesh colors, or some people call it the earth spectrum. They never say a blue purple. And all is blue purple is when you get purple, you add a little more blue to it. It doesn't follow the same formula, which I was talking about as far as mixing the primary colors together.
Yeah.
So
blue purple would turn into like an indigo. Is that right?
Say that again.
Blue and purple together would be like an indigo.
Well, it all depends on what you imagine an indigo as. It'll just be a blue purple. It won't be the flesh indigo I'm talking about.
Okay.
If you go into a university library and you find these real thick dictionaries that weigh about 5 pounds,
Yeah.
I did that at the University of California, and in that dictionary, if you look under the word indigo, it'll have things like brown indigo, copper indigo, flesh indigo.
Right. Yeah.
And that was the color I believe that Sir Isaac Newton was talking about when he described these 7 colors.
Interesting.
When he was showing how sunlight refracts through a prism to create the color spectrum.
Yeah.
And not a blue-purple.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And
yeah. It's something I'm stuck on that. I totally believe that.
yeah. And as far as for people to find your website, what's the website name?
NameColorology.com. Just like a name, Name, colorology.com. NameColorology.com. All one word.
Okay.
And if they want to look up my book on Amazon, all they have to do is type in my author name in the search box, which is BP Greycastle. And the Greycastle is spelled with an E, not an A, Greycastle. BP Greycastle. And my book will come up.
Perfect. Yeah, and I'll have it linked in the show description as well.
Yeah, and on my website, it's a very big website where we show different interiors. What I advise people, like if they want to know what styles to decorate their home, I advise people to go online and just type in the words like different interior designs. We've got about 7 or 8 on my website, but there's all kinds of different interior designs like bohemian or vintage or antique, French provincial, you name it. There's all kinds of different designs. The first thing you do is you determine what type of designs you like. And then you apply your colors to that interior and the different rooms. And so it's got the website has a lot on it.
Yeah.
It shows you all kinds of different fashion designs, and you pick what ones you like, and then you apply your colors from your name.
Yeah, I perused the site. It's got a lot in there, lots to learn.
Yeah.
It's nearly an open book of instruction.
Yeah, exactly. Like I say, your name affects every aspect of your life. So our website has to kind of get into all kinds of different stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, BP, Mr. Greycastle, I really appreciate having you on and getting an introduction to Name Colorology.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for having me on, and you've helped people. By having me on, I think you're going to have people learn more about themselves and be more creative in life.
Yeah, I think so too. I absolutely love it, and we'll have your link in there and your offer for, it sounds like 50% off while the Amazon situation's figured.
If somebody wants a consultation, they'll learn all about what colors to decorate their home, what colors to wear to project the different images, their personality and character traits of all their 7 centers, what colors to stimulate their husband or wife or girlfriend romantically or any other way, everything.
Right. That's perfect. And if somebody's out there, they're looking for career advancement, they're looking for romance, they're looking for more peace at home. I hear that a lot.
You can actually use my philosophy. I've got one of the quotes on my website is a lady that was going to a job interview at a hospital. I told her, you tell me the name of the people that are going to interview you, and I'll tell you what to say to them to impress them. And she did that. She got the job almost immediately.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you can pre-read a person's mind by knowing their color character.
By knowing their name. Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for being here and for discussing this, and might have you on again so we can dig a little deeper.
Okay, yeah, no doubt. And thanks a million for having me on again. I love doing these shows.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, have a good day.
Have a good one. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.